There is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
You got to get it done right now. Sense of urgency through the roof.
All right, G, you ready, man? You ready for the college football playoff?
Yeah, I'm ready. First one, is going to happen at the Shoe in Columbus.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to head out there right now. This is going to be a big game. Tennessee Volunteers coming inside of the Shoe to play against those world-famous Buckeyes, as my man says at Gus Johnson.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this, G. I saw ASU. I saw Oregon twice. I saw Boise State. You've been to all the Ohio State games. You've seen Ohio State. You've seen Penn State. You've seen these Indiana, right? I mean, between the two of us, we have seen a majority of these playoff teams.
We have.
If you had to pick one, to run the whole table, who is it?
Buckeyes.
Is it really? It still is, huh?
Full disclosure, there's bias there. But I'll get to why. I don't think there's any question about talent. I don't think there's any question about what they have done as far as what they can do in the trenches. Their defense is top-notch. As you know, defense wins championship. Yep. And I'd arguably to say that is the best defense in the country. They have a little bit hampered a little bit by offensive line injuries that kind of hit them late. But they have the defense, and they arguably have the best run game. Two-man tandem in Quinshon Junkins and you got Travion Henderson with those two running backs. Outside of the Buckeyes, now let me stay away from them, I'll tell you who's a tough team. And I was actually surprised that the Oregon Ducks beat them. Penn State is a tough team. Mm-hmm. Like, Penn State's really, really good. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a little bit of a run in this whole deal. And, hey, Indiana is not bad as well. Your thoughts?
You know what's interesting, G, is unlike the NFL, because of the salary cap, because of where you draft, because of injuries, because of the length of that season, everything else, it feels like every team in the NFL have some fatal flaws. Like, there's something to them. Like, man, yeah, man, I really like them, but. So when I look at these 12 teams in these playoffs, I'm in the college football playoff. You mentioned the offensive line of Ohio State. You can go through the list of a lot of these teams, seeing Boise up close and personal, looking at ASU's vulnerability and their lack of size in their front seven, looking at Boise's offensive line that's got a couple of real holes and is really undersized and plays dime defense throughout. I think I point to 1 and 2. And I think having to play one less game, and we have seen this in the playoffs in the NFL. I mean, this is our first look at the college football playoff, but we've had to look at the NFL playoffs for a long time. And we know the advantage of having that first round bye and not having to play that game and not getting beat up. And then on top of it, to have some friendly confines there for Oregon right down the road in Pasadena, a pretty easy trip for Georgia right across the way to play in the Sugar Bowl, just friendly places they have been and they know. I have a hard time looking at those two teams, Oregon and Georgia, and thinking any of these other 10 could beat them. Now, you say to me, Ohio State nearly did. I mean, well, Huard was down, and if he gets down a second earlier and that game goes to overtime, I get it. But I just look at the fatal flaws and some of the – not even fatal. I just look at the flaws of some of these, and I think Oregon and Georgia got the fewest.
Yeah, Buckeyes made it hard on themselves, right? They've lost 2 games this season by a total of 4 points. Right, they lost to Oregon Ducks by 1. They lost to the team up north by 3, and it's a game they shouldn't have lost. So they put themselves definitely in a bad situation. What I mean by bad is, it's like, yeah, it would have been good to have that first round bye. But if you're going to do it, sometimes you got to. It's just tough sledding, man. Sometimes you got to go get it done. And I will say, the game Saturday night in the Shoe, when Tennessee comes up there, and I know that usually it goes to favor right now. I think the Buckeyes are a 7.5-point favorite in that game. And I know there's like, okay, well, the team in the north that's going to be playing in the cold, it's going to be 15 degrees, my brother. If anything, 15 degrees kind of helps a little bit for the Tennessee as well, right? That's a team right there. I don't think that they can really have the skill, can throw it the way the Buckeyes can. Mm-hmm. But they can play good defense and run the ball, right? 15 degrees, it is going to come down to who is the toughest, right?
Yep.
We're coming up out of there. There is going to be no fanciness. There's going to be dog versus dog in that game.
You know, it's pretty fascinating, big picture, and I've said this all season, G, about college football. For me and our crew, and we were largely in the Big 12, a little bit in the Big 10, I said that this was the year of the running back. Ashton obviously comes up just short to Travis Hunter. He wins the Heisman Trophy, but the running back's number 2 on that list. And I'm looking at these 12 playoff teams, And unlike the NFL, right? The NFL, we got Josh Allen. The NFL, we got Patrick Mahomes. The NFL, we got, the best quarterbacks usually are the ones left standing when you get to the playoffs. We always talk about quarterback. I mean, Clemson, Texas, I think yours is coming back to school. ASU's got a nice young quarterback. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel's played 90 college games, super experienced, everything else. Tennessee's got a youngster, Will Howard. You got some experience, but you don't have a franchise. There's no Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward in these playoffs. There are only two franchise QBs going to be drafted in the top 10 in this draft. So that, to me, makes us also kind of a tough pick. I say Oregon and Georgia. Who's quarterback of Georgia? Carson Beck is a mess, right? I actually like the QB at SMU. I think that dude is a baller. I think he's a great college player. I don't know how he projects to the NFL. But don't you think some of the lack of elite, like if this were last year and there's Bo Nix and there's Michael Penix, right, and there's Caleb Williams. Well, USC wasn't any good. But you know what I'm saying? There were some bona fide just chops at that position. I think this creates a wide open atmosphere because I don't think there's a quarterback that can just carry the whole thing amongst these 12.
And which is, by the way, the reason why I said the Buckeyes can run the table, because of their running back situation. By the way, not just in college football, and in pro football too, I think it's the running back renaissance right now. It is the comeback of the running back. Ask the Philadelphia Eagles if they like running backs. Ask the Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry, if they like running backs. Saquon Barkley over there doing this thing with the Eagles. The Green Bay Packers, what they do in here in Lumen Field? Josh Jacobs. So I think right now, not just in pro, but in college, it is the running back renaissance. You want to go far? You got to have a run game. And that's why I defaulted to the Buckeyes, because they literally do. Those running backs right there, whoo.
Okay, so now talk to me about this. Specifically why I wanted to chat with you, because your boy's in it. I'm sure you're linked with him, talking to him, some of the other fellas on that team. What is the first playoff game in the first 12-team playoff, right? They're the last one of the weekend, right? It's the nightcapper. It's the big one. It's in prime time. But what is the vibe? I mean, is it obviously Michigan's a different animal, the team up north, all of that history. Yeah. What is the vibe for the first ever playoff and a home playoff game in Columbus? Off the charts?
Mm-hmm. Off the charts. The vibe is this. If you're listening right now, Sunday night, you haven't started on your term paper, and your term paper's due on Monday. There is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
You got to get it done right now. Sense of urgency through the roof. There is no, well, we'll save this and we'll save that. Everything is sense of urgency right now, which is why I think this 12-team playoff, college football playoff, if you're a fan, you can't beat this. And like you were saying, Brock, and I know you're talking about Georgia and Oregon, and yes, I do believe that those two teams have a nice road, right, in front of them. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I think 10 teams, 10 of the 12, could literally win a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why the NFL is so good, because of the parity week in and week out. That's why people tune in. That's why people are going to tune into this. This right here might be the most watched playoffs ever.
Yeah. So Joel Klatt was on with us earlier this week, and obviously we lament all the things wrong with college football. There's no leadership. There is no commissioner. The timing of this portal is a disaster. You know, what we are seeing with our buddies in Pullman, and just, I mean, there's over and over and over again, there's a lot of problems. Yeah. But as he said, college football has become the second most popular sport in America. The ratings this season were off the charts. And I can only imagine what these playoffs are going to do, to your point about these ratings. I mean, how big has March Madness become in that basketball tournament? It has become its own entity, and it drives the whole sport. The regular season college football ratings were off the charts. Not closing the gap quite with the NFL, but they've distanced themselves from everybody else behind them. You anticipate these playoffs and these numbers on Saturday with an unprecedented Clemson, Texas, SMU, Penn State, Tennessee at Ohio State, a Friday night with Indiana in the snow up at Notre Dame. I mean, I think we have a chance to see something in our lifetime for the first time in a playoff situation that just lights this sport on fire even more.
Hey, Brother Brock, that's just the first round.
Yeah.
You haven't even made it to the Rose Bowl. You haven't even made it to the Sugar Bowl and all that. That used to be the highlight right there. You just in the first round. You're going to get Friday, Saturday night this weekend, and then after that, you going to get Sunday? Let me tell you something. Ladies, fellas, all y'all in relationships, anybody got a honey-do list or anything like that? Man, it ain't happening this weekend, baby. It's honey don't list. Honey, I ain't doing.
You're doing something right now. You're going to go out of there and get on that plane, and you're going to bundle up and get all warm, and we'll look for you Saturday night.
Brock,
and more than anything, we'll be rooting for Baby G to go get it done.
Yeah, Brock, come on. Who you got? Buckeyes?
Oh, Buckeyes are going to win. Yeah, Buckeyes got to win. There is a desperation there from the top down. That's a veteran team. There is a desperation and a hunger there. Mm-hmm. And trust me on this one. I've been to Rocky Top a few times. That song got me up there playing the fiddle when I've been in Knoxville. Hey, hey, Rocky Top. I'm up there dancing like Lee Corso. I'm looking like a fool. Yeah. You know, you'll see. Wait till you see that. Wait till you see some of the orange. Now, I know the Buckeye fans probably not selling their tickets to many folks in orange.
No. They've already said the president of Ohio State came out and already said 37%. 37% of the shoe will be volunteers.
Yeah. Well, I look forward next week to doing this, hopefully again. Hopefully your Buckeyes will be in it. We'll hear all about it. We'll have a blast, have a great time. This is going to be awesome. I mean, absolutely awesome for the game that we love that is college football.